What is up, everybody? This is Mr. Howard, and we are back with this week's episode of Raw Talk. I want to start off by talking about the beginning of Raw. We had all six guys here, except instead of The Miz, it was Del Rio, I believe. The six competitors in the Money in the Bank ladder match at the end of the month. They all were just kind of chilling on top of ladders in the middle of the ring when Raw went on the air. And, they all kind of had a little bit of back and forth, some banter and some comments by Jericho and Owens and Ambrose. And it was some funny talks. But just as they were about to, they kind of broke out in a fight, but just as it was about to get out of hand, we got a nice surprise return by the long-lost Teddy Long. If you guys don't remember him, he was the general manager of SmackDown for quite some years, and he's also managed a couple wrestlers in the past, most notably probably Mark Henry. But he's been in the business for a lot of years doing different jobs, and basically he returned trying to show his incentive that he would like to be the new general manager of SmackDown once it goes live, I believe next month. So he came out, and the fans were really excited. I was really excited, and he kind of mentioned that what he would do in this situation is set up. I think he said like a 6-man tag match, or he maybe set up a 6-man like no disqualification match where there would have to be a winner, and he kind of just showed like what he would do if this had been an episode of SmackDown, and of course you see Ambrose and Jericho and everyone just kind of looking at him like, who are you even in charge here, or like what are you doing here? And Stephanie McMahon comes out and just kind of says, "Nice to see you again, Teddy, but what are you doing here? You don't work here anymore." And he just kind of explained what I had just told you, and she basically escorts him to the back and leaves him. Just kind of tells him to not go back out there, and kind of lets it slide this time, even though she clearly didn't really want him out there. So what she does is she sets up 3 one-on-one matches between the 6 competitors. The first of which was Cesaro versus Chris Jericho. So this was a pretty good match. I was excited about this. One of the cooler moments was Jericho reversing the Cesaro swing into a nice pin. And let's see, we also saw a bunch of uppercuts from Cesaro, which definitely looked like they hurt. That is kind of an understatement. Cesaro maintained control throughout the match for the most part, and I think he eventually locked in the sharpshooter, and Jericho tapped out. So, going into, well, I guess we're not quite at Money in the Bank yet, but going into next week, Cesaro is definitely looking strong still. Jericho's not so much. He's definitely looked stronger in the past. He's playing the role of that whiny kind of heel that talks a lot of game but doesn't really fight when it comes time. So we'll give Cesaro a +1 and Jericho a -1 for this week. The next singles match was between Sami Zayn and Alberto Del Rio. It was alright. I'm not a fan of Del Rio. I have never been a fan of Del Rio. So whenever he's in the ring, I just kind of get a little, agitated at his presence. But Sami Zayn basically put up a great fight in classic Sami Zayn style. He would just get hit with something and hit his opponent right back with it. And it looked like Zayn was going to win, countering just about everything Del Rio had for him. But eventually, he hit him with the, I think they just call it like the double foot stomp from the top corner. And Del Rio wins by pinfall. He wins cleanly, which I was pretty surprised at. And, that gives Del Rio a +1, and it gives Zayn a -1, I guess. I still think that Zayn has a good chance of winning at the Money in the Bank, but we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. We also had a one-on-one match between Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens, and this match is always fun to watch. They just are very much two brawlers. So it was basically just the two of them slugging it out, trading big blows back and forth. The momentum shift kind of, I guess you could say, fairly often. Ambrose hit Owens with a big superplex. Yeah, and I mean Owens got a German suplex on. I think he hit like a pretty big like kick to the face, if I remember correctly. And then he ended up going for his trademark powerbomb, but Ambrose caught him with a clothesline and then hit Dirty Deeds instead. So Ambrose did get the win, so I'll give him a +1. But after the match, Ambrose pulled out a ladder to try and climb up and grab the briefcase, and Owens, pushed him off and just kind of tried to shift momentum back to him as far as like momentum towards Money in the Bank goes. So I would say this match kind of ended evenly, even though Ambrose did get the pin. Overall, I have to say, for this Money in the Bank match, I really would like to see Cesaro win, because he's been obviously chasing that world title for a long time. I mean, you heard McMahon talk about him not being able to grab that brass ring in the Stone Cold podcast last year, and that bugged me. It bugged a lot of people. It bugged Cesaro from what we've seen, and he just really deserves that if not a world title run, at least a chance at winning the world title. I can't think of many guys I'd rather see as champ. Cesaro is probably the most entertaining wrestler we have that, maybe I guess isn't a high flyer really. He just puts on a great match every match. So I would like to see him win. I will honestly be happy as long as it's not Alberto Del Rio. If it's Alberto Del Rio, I'm going to just flip my shit. I cannot stand him, and I cannot believe he won a Money in the Bank in the past. I cannot believe he won a world title in the past. I cannot believe he was the last person to fight Edge before he retired. There's so many things, and beat Cena for the U.S. belt out of nowhere last year. There's just so much that he shouldn't have been allowed to do, and they gave it to him for one reason or another. I don't know why, but not a fan of Del Rio. So I don't think they're going to give it to Jericho, just because, I don't know, he's kind of a part-timer. Oh, we're going to see a finisher here. I think Jericho obviously always deserves to be in the world title picture, but I just don't think they're going to put him in there now, and they might not put him in there ever again. I don't know. So that's kind of what I'm thinking there. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't. We didn't see anything from the Miz. I don't know if he's going to be having an Intercontinental match at the pay per view or not. But that'll be interesting. I mean, that's kind of up in the air, I suppose. Um, Kevin Owens winning would be good. Dean Ambrose winning would be awesome. It would set up a feud between him, Reigns, and Rollins at really any point in the future. I would assume if that were the case, they'd just set it up for WrestleMania. But you never know. They could do a Survivor Series, a SummerSlam. They could do really any time. Or he could be sneaky and cash it in, on like a Raw 1 week or something. I like I said, I will be happy as long as Del Rio does not win the Money in the Bank match, and I'm pretty confident Jericho won't win as well. So, best case scenario for me, probably Cesaro. Most likely case, probably Ambrose. And maybe Sami Zayn, but I don't really know what their plans for Sami Zayn are at the moment. Um, Cesaro really is fucking strong. I'm sorry, but he's ridiculous because he could actually do this and has done this in real life. No, but I mean, it's just like they've said it before. Sami Zayn seems to be destined to fight Kevin Owens forever. I feel like that's what we're gonna be seeing, right? I don't know. I can't think of anything else for him at the moment. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Let's see if this is going to finish up the match or not. Because knowing Cesaro, he would be the winner. Yep. So Cesaro and the baby faces win this match, similar to I guess you could say what happened on Raw. I honestly I'm looking forward to the Money in the Bank match. Multi-person ladder matches are always great, but I'm kind of hoping for Cesaro, or I mean I guess any of the baby faces would be great. Owens would be pretty good. Yeah, that's kind of my take on it. So now we're just gonna jump into this match, which was relatively short. It was a match between Rusev and Jack Swagger. Of course, not something we've seen before. I think I said it last week. I'm not really sure why they have Rusev as the U.S. champ again. It's kind of, I don't know. I feel like we definitely got worn out on it last year. When Cena finally defeated him at WrestleMania, or I guess retained it at WrestleMania, but finished the feud then. I don't know. Jack Swagger is definitely kind of washed up. I wouldn't be surprised if he got let go this year. Not saying I want anyone to get let go, but I would not be surprised to see that in one of the articles or the current wrestling news. I mean, again, Rusev he's an interesting character, but I feel like no one really looks at him when Lana's out there. And of course, when he's fighting people like Jack Swagger, it's not really much of a match. It's just kind of like bathroom break time or snack time or whatever it is. It's just kind of like the in between the other big moments of the night, and that's a problem. He has definite potential, but they're just not putting him up against anyone. Like Cena was the last good feud he had, and even then, it was just he's not. I don't know. I don't really know why they're pushing him so much. I think they should be pushing like Bray Wyatt. I know he's not here at the moment, but like push him. Push guys like Enzo and Cass. Push guys like I don't know, everyone that's in the Money in the Bank, I suppose, which they are. But um, I don't know. I'm just not entertained. And looks like that match ended pretty much the same way it did on the show. So basically, what happened in the real Raw match, Rusev throws Swagger into Titus O'Neil, who was on the outside, ends up getting a DQ or a count-out victory, I forget which. And then Swagger and Titus basically team up on Rusev in the ring and take him down to kind of give Titus the high ground going into next week. Here we have a tag match between Enzo and Cass and the VOD Villains. Pretty early on in the match, I think Simon Gotch threw Enzo out of the ring in a similar fashion to when he got a concussion. And that really pissed off Big Cass. They made a bad decision doing that. So Cass just snapped and began to just lose it. Just destroying Gotch. And I think he was just like stomping on English, literally, until the referee had to call for the bell. So basically, the Vaudevillains win by disqualification, but not really. And I don't know if Enzo was. He looked all right, but Cass just lost his shit. He even after the bell rang. He just went off on Simon Gotch and just did not stop at all. He just did not stop. And Enzo, he got up. He seemed okay. But he was definitely looking at Cass like, holy shit, you have that in you? And they embraced each other, and that was the end of the match. But it was definitely a sight to see because Cass is a big guy already. You get him pissed off. Oh, that's scary. You do not want to do that at all. All right, so let's see. We also got a little bit of a video package on Seth Rollins, and then a little bit later in the night we got a video package on Roman Reigns, just kind of talking about what their path to this upcoming event has been, showing where their paths crossed. They showed a little bit of the Shield back when they were all a team with the two of them and Ambrose. And again, I'm not really super psyched at this match. I will be excited when the feud is over, regardless of who wins. I feel kind of obligated to side with Reigns just because he's in air quotations here, the face of the feud. And even though I don't really love Reigns right now, I cannot stand Rollins. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just kind of in a situation where I would rather anyone but these two be in the main event. And hopefully after Money in the Bank, we'll have a little bit of tension between whoever wins and the champion. That would spice things up a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be putting Cena into the title picture anytime. I know people don't want to see that. But it'd be nice to at least see Cena fight them on Raw or something, in a non-title match. I would definitely like to see that. What else we got? I want to see Reigns fight someone different. Put him in a match with Cesaro. Put him in a match with Kevin Owens. Put him in a match with anyone other than the Club, anyone other than Rollins or Ambrose or Triple H. I just feel like we've seen the same thing over and over again, and not of the fault. This is not the fault of Roman Reigns either. I want to make that clear. This is the fault of the writing staff or whoever's booking these matches. Um, I don't think they're booking him well, and I think he needed to be booked well in order to go over with the crowd. Um, so, I mean, of course, all the fans are behind Rollins. I am not, but they're probably gonna have. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, I'm not gonna be surprised if Rollins wins. I think when or if we're talking like in kayfabe, Rollins would get destroyed by Reigns in just about every scenario, but because they want Rollins to look strong, they're probably gonna put him over. So my guess is that Rollins either wins the belt, or the match ends in like a countout or a DQ or something along those lines, to kind of prolong the feud. Because they're just going to push this feud for like the rest of the summer, and that's unfortunate for at least from my perspective, but. It is what it is, and we will get through this. Like I said, I'm hoping they end up doing a triple threat feud with Ambrose. The idea was to do it at WrestleMania, but I don't know if they're going to be able to wait that long. So, again, time will tell. We also saw the women's champion Charlotte come down with Dana Brooke, and they were looking good as usual. She kind of explained how she had to say and do what she did last week to Rick, because she doesn't want to share the spotlight as champion, and she was trying to rationalize her actions. And some people might think she was rational. I don't know. I could be in the minority here, but I don't think I am. We also saw Natalya and Becky come out to interrupt the promo, and of course, they just kind of explained how Charlotte has turned on or lied to everyone she's ever been friends or close to, and you can kind of see Dana Brooke slowly stepping away from Charlotte, kind of skeptical at her, at her friendship and not really trusting her, kind of leaning towards Natalya and Becky's side of the ring. But of course, we find out very quickly when Dana Brooke attacks Natalya from behind that it was all just kind of a show, and she wasn't actually thinking the way it appeared she was, and she's still very, very much on the side of Charlotte. So it'll be interesting to see if we get a tag match between the two of them at Money in the Bank. I mean, you would think they'd have a women's championship match, right? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look that up, but we're going to at least see a tag match between the two of them, if not a a one-on-one match with maybe managers out there. So it looks like, it looks like we're just going to be getting a little bit of a tag match going on at the Money in the Bank. I also want to point out, which we will be getting to very shortly, there's going to be a nice tag match at Money in the Bank, which I will get to, but I found that out last night, and I'm excited about that. So, the next match we had was the, what was it? Tyler Breeze versus R-Truth. And, of course, Fandango comes out with Breeze, and Goldust comes out with R-Truth. And, it was definitely a quick match. I don't really know what they plan on doing with this feud. It just kind of seems like filler at this point. I honestly, the only one I've really like is Goldust out of the four of them. I've always been a fan of Goldust, and he always seems to find himself in funny situations, and I get it. That's the character. And R-Truth is fine, but I feel like they would probably be more popular if they just kind of like were in like backstage hijinks every week, or just kind of funny stuff backstage. Um, I don't think anyone is legitimately invested in this feud, if you can even call it a feud. The match ended in seconds when Goldust and Fandango broke out in a fight on the outside, and then that ended up going into the ring, and the referee had a call for the bell. We saw we saw Teddy Long come out again, which was very funny, saying that if he were in charge, he would restart the match as a tag match. But the security came out and escorted him away as Stephanie kind of like talked shit about him on the way out. So I don't know what they're planning on doing with this. I'd like Teddy to be the SmackDown GM, I guess. That would work. He did a good job back in I don't know, oh 04, oh 05, oh 06, oh 07, oh 08, somewhere. A couple of those years. But I don't know if they plan on just doing one McMahon per show. That's kind of up in the air. But yeah, that's something we will also have to wait and see. We will find out when SmackDown goes live. I think like early July. So, in the main event, we see the New Day versus the Club, which includes Styles. So it was a 3-on-3 match. Early on in the match, Styles hits the Styles Clash on Woods on the outside, which sends Woods to the back. He was injured apparently, not legitimately, but for the point of the story, he was. And basically, Big E and Kofi had to fight in a handicap match, and they just could not keep up. They would take out one member of the club, and another would kind of catch up to them. So, basically, Big E was kind of beaten up for a while. They kind of kept him in their corner. The club kept Big E in their corner for a while. And eventually Styles hit the phenomenal forearm on Kingston for the win. But most of what happened took place after the match when basically the club grouped up on the New Day or on Big E and Kofi and just kind of started beating on them, only to hear John Cena's music come out, and Cena kind of takes out Gallows and Anderson, and then gets cheap shotted by Styles. And as Styles is looking at Cena, you see Kofi take out Styles, and then Big E takes out Anderson, I believe, and then Cena hits the FU, not the attitude adjustment, people, the FU, on Big Luke Gallows, which was pretty cool. And so they closed the show with Cena and the New Day standing tall. Kind of, I guess, predictable, but the New Day did come out earlier in the night to save Cena when the club was, trying to gang up on him. So there's some kind of an alliance here, and in case people weren't sure, the New Day is most definitely a babyface team. I know there was a little bit of confusion over the past couple months, maybe not the last month or so, but they kind of switched to babyfaces over around WrestleMania, and I know fans had liked them before that, but it was definitely a bit confusing, especially when they were facing, they would face teams like the Usos, who were faces, and then they'd face the League of Nations, which were obviously heels, So they're just kind of like a neutral tag team, at least from my perspective. And we weren't really sure where that was going. Um, we also, yeah, so that was Monday Night Raw. It wasn't super eventful. Whenever we have big gaps between pay-per-views like this, some of the Raws in between are just going to be that way, unfortunately. Or at least that's been the case in the past. So that was Monday Night Raw. I'll give it a 3 out of 5, I guess. It was alright. We do have NXT Takeover this week, which, if we go, I'm going to go ahead and look at the lineup we have so far. I believe it is Wednesday the 9th, and that'll be at about probably 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 Central, I think. So the main event, of course, is Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor in a steel cage match. We will be going over all of this in next week's Raw Talk as well. We also have, let's see, we have the match that a lot of people are considering a possible, a possible like main event. Is that of Shinsuke Nakamura versus Austin Aries. So this is exciting for me. I'm pretty sure the winner is going to be set up as like the new number one contender. My assumption is that Samoa Joe is going to win the steel cage match, setting up Finn Balor to go to the main roster in the near future. Possibly having a storyline with the club. Who knows? Yeah, we got Nakamura versus Austin Aries, which is going to be a great match by itself. I think Nakamura's probably going to win. Although Aries does have a history with Samoa Joe, so maybe they'll want to set that up. Maybe they'll set up a triple threat feud for the world title somehow. I don't know. But I am super excited about NXT in the near future. Like way more so than I am anything on the main roster right now. We also have the tag champions, American Alpha, taking on the Revival. This is going to be an interesting matchup. If you haven't watched NXT, I definitely recommend watching it, especially this Wednesday if you can. Looks like a good tag match. Definitely not the main event of the night, but it definitely seems like it'll be a good tag match when it comes to like a technical wrestling match. We also have the women's match, which looks awesome. Asuka is going to be defending against Nia Jax. So, that by itself is a pretty big match if you're into the women's division. Nia Jax has been pretty much just steamrolling over everyone, including Bayley. And Asuka has been a major force to be reckoned with. She is just a really good wrestler, and it doesn't seem like I don't know what's going on here with Tyler Breeze, but he doesn't seem too happy. It doesn't seem like Asuka is someone to just kind of get steamrolled over. I mean, she's a really good technical wrestler, obviously, but she's also kind of a powerful wrestler. So it'll be interesting to see how they do this. Either Asuka's going to fight an uphill battle and then come out on top, just by like pure technique, or Nia Jax is just going to steamroll over her as well. I think that would be a mistake. I think they need to keep Asuka looking strong, and they need to keep doing that until her inevitable main roster, upgrade, I guess you could say, or debut. But, I don't know. The idea of Nia Jax steamrolling over her scares me because that could ruin Asuka for a while. I don't think it necessarily destroyed Bayley's career, but it definitely didn't help. We're less likely to see Bayley on the main roster anytime soon because of her feud with Nia Jax. So that's kind of something they should keep an eye out for. I think Nia Jax will be the women's NXT champion at some point. I just hope it's not yet. And we're also going to see the debut of a guy. I could be pronouncing this terribly, but Andrade Almas, aka Cien. He's going to be facing Ty Dillinger, the Perfect 10. And I'm sure that'll be a good match. I don't know much about either of these guys, so I don't really know what to expect. But another match to keep an eye on. The main event's definitely Joe and Balor. Nakamura versus Aries is a huge match to look at. And then the women's championship match between Asuka and Nia Jax is also something that is interesting. So, with that being said, we can jump over real quick to the Money in the Bank matches. The Money in the Bank lineup looks similar to that of what we saw tonight on Raw. The main event to me is Cena versus Styles, just because it's two of my favorite wrestlers going at it. The Money in the Bank ladder match is obviously a big attraction. That will be, of course, Ambrose, Jericho, Kevin Owens, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, and Alberto Del Rio. So I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna say Cena wins over Styles cleanly, or Styles wins over Cena not cleanly with help. That'll be generally what I think happens. Money in the Bank ladder match, again, I want Cesaro. I'm going to say Ambrose wins. What else we got? We're going to see, of course, the world title match between Reigns and Rollins. It is what it is. A lot of people are probably going to like the match going into it. I guarantee you if Reigns retains, everybody's going to be pissed off again. But that's kind of what I'm hoping to see. Just it seems like the lesser of the evils, lesser of the evil like endings in my opinion. And we also have announced the Fatal 4-Way tag match for the World Tag Titles, I believe. It could be a non-title match, but I'm assuming it's a title match. So that will be the New Day. Not sure which members, of course. Between Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the Club. Also versus the Vaudevillains and versus Enzo and Cass. So that should be a great match to look forward to. Of course, I'm going to be rooting for Enzo and Cass. But I have a feeling the New Day will probably retain. And if they ever lose the belts, it'll probably be, in a one-on-one match. I'm interested I'm curious why they don't have the Dudleys involved, as they have been feuding with Enzo and Cass lately. I would say the match would have been only a little bit. It would have been a lot better, especially it being, at Money in the Bank where there's ladders all over the place and tables and chairs. Having the Dudleys in it would have been a much better match, but it's still going to be good without them. I would say, I think those are the only 4 matches confirmed. I think it's pretty safe to say we're going to see a U.S. title match between Rusev and Titus O'Neil, where Rusev will probably win, but Titus, it depends on what they want to do with this, because if they're using Titus as a placeholder to keep Rusev busy until they put him into a feud with, I don't know, Cena again, or I really don't know, maybe Bray Wyatt, I don't know, someone, then then Titus is not going to win, obviously. If they're trying to build up Titus O'Neil, then maybe he'll win, or he'll lose but still look strong. We still don't know what The Miz is going to be doing, if he's going to have an Intercontinental title match. If he does, I have no idea who it's going to be against at this point. I'd have to go through the entire roster and pick out the case. I could see him maybe somehow getting put into the Money in the Bank match. As I think when they first showed when they were doing the qualifying matches for the Money in the Bank, it looked like there were 7 or 8 slots in the match. We only have 6 currently, so that could open. Maybe they're going to add more, or maybe they just decided after the fact to only have 6. Maybe they could add The Miz. I still am waiting to see Orton come back. I'm waiting to see Bray Wyatt come back. So we have a lot of potential in the future with, all the guys we have on the roster now, as well as them coming back hopefully soon. And, we don't really know what's going on with the women's title. If we're going to see a one-on-one match between Charlotte and Natalya, between Charlotte and Becky. Is it going to be a tag match between Charlotte and Dana versus Natalya and Becky? I don't know. I'm definitely disappointed that they're not using Paige right now. I'm not sure if Sasha got injured. If she isn't injured, I'm really disappointed they're not using her as well. I think Naomi got injured. And I think Tamina is just not wrestling without Naomi, if I'm correct there. But yeah, I mean the women's division, or the Diva Revolution, whatever they wanted to call it back then, was looking really good. And I'm afraid they're just not using the girls enough right now. I really would like to see more of Paige. It'll be interesting to see if either of the Bellas ever come back. If they do, it certainly won't be anytime soon. But I'm hoping to see Paige and Sasha involved a lot more in the future. And let's see. The Money in the Bank pay-per-view is just that. It's for the Money in the Bank match. So that's obviously going to be the main focus. I would say this is probably going to set up. I want to say it's going to set up a good set of feuds for SummerSlam, which I think is in. Well, we might have another pay. I think we have Money in the Bank, Battleground, and then SummerSlam, if I'm not mistaken. So, hopefully between Money in the Bank and Battleground, they will lead. I have no idea what's going on here. That was probably the funniest. I'm gonna have to save that recording. That was the funniest ending to a match I've ever seen, and that seems exactly like what would happen. But yeah, hopefully leading into SummerSlam, we'll have a good set of matches. The news just broke that Brock Lesnar will be at SummerSlam, but he is also going to be fighting at UFC 200. So keep an eye out for that if you're a fan of Lesnar or a fan of MMA. We are looking all right going into next week. Hopefully it gets a little more exciting before Money in the Bank is actually here. I will be watching the NXT Takeover this week and doing a review of that on next week's Raw Talk, so stay tuned for that. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like or a comment down below if you have anything you'd like to say. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys real soon.